Hello all. Today I wanted to talk about why exactly I really like YouTube and sort of make this a 1-week retrospective, but for now you can just call me Hanson. One of the reasons that I really like YouTube is that it's very cathartic. You can say your shower thoughts, if you will, and talk about very obscure, random, very strange topics that you're never gonna be able to talk about in a normal conversation. An example of talking about these shower thoughts is when I made that 40-minute video about my thoughts about COD, Fallout, and my philosophy of a good video game sequel. It's these thoughts that occasionally pop into your head as you're playing those respective games, but you sort of forget them in the next 5 minutes, as if you awoke from a dream. But with YouTube, you can take these shower thoughts and turn them into a great debate that hopefully you can engage with in audience of maybe not even thousands, just one more person, and you can make that person smile, feel good about themselves knowing that there's like-minded individuals out there. Or maybe you just start talking with somebody about COD and Fallout, and they'll tell you about how they disagree with you, and you can learn something from that person. And you really can't do that with a random stranger in real life. And that's one of the few things, or many things, that makes YouTube such a magical place. I really hope to get better at this in the future, because as you can surely notice, I am jump cutting the audio so that you do not hear as many of my shortcomings and mistakes when I'm speaking, because I don't want to sound like some awkward, bumbling idiot when I'm trying to really express my feelings and be as genuine as I can. So, in reality, I've always been very socially awkward and more or less apathetic about talking to people. What I mean exactly is that many people in my life and just in the environments I've had to be in, like school or after-school activities, or even some of my family members, not intermediate or not even extended, but they just aren't very good people, and that sort of rubs off on you when you're younger, and it makes you not want to be around people for that reason. I mean, I know that there's over 7 billion people in the world, so not everybody's a bad person, but it makes it very difficult for you to wanna go find people. And I'll go more into that later, but I wanted to go into a bit more of a specific example about why I wasn't, and still really am not, a very socially outgoing person. Well, socially outgoing is the wrong word, but, or the wrong phrase, but why exactly I'm apathetic. So, there was a kid in my middle school class, and middle school was an odd time for me because when 7th grade, I was a completely different person than I was in 8th grade due to events in my life, which I don't want to go into the events, but in 7th grade I was more of a troublemaker. I was much more social, and everybody knew me. I was a popular kid. But after the events that happened after 7th grade, in that 3-month summer period, I became much more reserved and more of a complex kid, I guess. I didn't like making trouble anymore after that, and I was just quiet all around. I didn't really talk to anybody, and I more or less became a polar opposite of what I was in 7th grade. But this being said, I wasn't a mean person in 8th grade. I did a complete 180. If people were... I guess if people were still under the impression that I was the same person, and they would avoid me or think I was an asshole, I would apologize and make amends, and most of them would be fine. But there was just a kid, and, well, in the class I was with this kid, we'll call the kid Rick for now, but in the class I was in with him, our teacher decided to let us go off in groups, and she assigned us to random tables, 2 to 3 people at a table, and the kid was just automatically hostile towards me. I never had a real friendship with the guy, but I wasn't exactly mean to him either. In fact, I wasn't mean to his friends either, or his clique for that matter. And one of the first few words that came out of his mouth when I started talking to him was, "Oh, I don't like you," or "I hate you." I don't remember the specific words, but it was something along those lines. And it really makes you think, do you really want to be around people when that's how they act? Because I believe I just asked him about the classwork. So, because of this, as a teenager, I haven't been able to go past the acquaintance stage of a friendship. So, more or less, I would talk to that person when I'm in class. Not Rick, obviously, but when I was talking to my friends, I'd talk to them during class. We'd have meaningful conversations. We'd really get to know each other. But after school, we just walk our separate ways. We wouldn't ever see each other outside of school. We wouldn't hang out. We wouldn't even text each other. It's just... Now, with all of this being said, there are times where I'm very content with this lack of socialization. I mean, people are very social beings, and this is evident by the Maslow hierarchy of needs. I'll flash up an image right now, but what I meant by people are social beings is that after taking care of your biological necessities and finding shelter, the next things that humans look for is belonging, finding people you can trust, such as family members. And because of this, it's third on our list. After you get into a cave and you cook a fire and you cook the animal that you killed and skinned it, you're gonna need a friend to eat that animal with, in terms of cavemen at least. But piggybacking off of the hierarchy of needs, hearing myself talk and how incompetent I am when I'm talking on YouTube, it really made me feel insecure about my conversational style. I mean, how many times I go and it's like nails on a chalkboard to me when I watch my videos back. but also, listening back to my videos, it tells me that I can improve. When I'm actually talking outside my videos now, I'm starting to pick up on how I talk, and when I say and when I say and I know that I can improve. And now, I have physical evidence of that. I looked at my last video about the impossible quiz, which I feel like that's my first real enjoyable video. And then I watched the week before, when I made my Who Is This Guy and Why Does He Suck Box Set 2 play video, and I'm leagues and leagues ahead of where I used to be. And I also can talk much more easily in casual conversation now, because I notice that my changes are actually significant in terms of YouTube. Whereas, if I didn't have YouTube, I wouldn't ever notice that I've gotten better. I mean, as I heard in a TV show, your successes are private, but your failures are public. Now, when you have a successful event, you're often going to forget about it, but those failures are what's going to stick with you or become public. I mean, technically they aren't going to be public because most people will forget about it, but in your mind, you'll think that person remembered me screwing up. Now, this being said, my successes and failures are both public since it's on YouTube, but there's a psychological phenomena called the negativity bias, where you'll remember the negative stuff much more so than the positive stuff, because, again, your brain wants to improve. There's no time to really revel in your successful qualities. I mean, you'll feel good about yourself for a second, but then it's back to it. How can I get better? And with YouTube, I believe that commentary-wise, I've gotten a lot better. I still have room to improve, but again, I'm leagues ahead of where I used to be. Now, I just need to invest more into the channel so that it can become something more passable. And I hope to do this with your guys' help eventually, but I don't want this commentary to turn into some charity, please give me money sort of bullshit. Because again, I don't like doing that sort of stuff. But in the future, I hope to keep improving, and I remember talking to you guys about the short story I was going to release, but writing takes such a long time, and as I was writing my short story, it didn't feel right. I feel like it'd be much better if it was in a play format, and there's no way I'd be able to read out a play on YouTube, because it just wouldn't work, and it's not like I'm gonna hire actors or anything like that to do it. So instead, I dug up an old poem, which I'm very proud of, and I presented it at a contest at my old high school, and I feel really good about it. But this being said, I still need to draw an image for it, because I'm not going to do it on the backdrop of a game. Instead, as I said in a previous video, I'm going to have one still image, which sort of represents the crux of the piece of literature. So I've been drawing that, but again, I'm not that good of a drawer, so I'm going to draw it minimalistically, and I've got the person and the characters drawn out, but I just need to get the background in, and I may scan it in my printer and then do video or computer editing on it, but we'll see. That should hopefully be done this week because, again, it was already written, this poem, in my high school contest, so it's already written, it's already revised. I'm not going to do any changes to it because I've read it over a few times and I feel confident about it. The picture, and then doing multiple takes of myself reading it so that I can drive the tone and the cadence and the general atmosphere of the poem. So, with all this being said, that's then, this is now, and I believe I have gotten everything that I wanted to talk about out in the open. So, I really love it here on YouTube, and I would say that I'm not gonna go anywhere anytime soon, but I would rather not give you guys a promise or an absolute law, and instead let you guys know that I don't want to go anywhere, but life is a mystery. And I mean, I uploaded very late again this weekend when I said that I would try and upload on the weekend and get a video out to you guys, but I mean, I have exams, I have papers, and I don't know. I hope to stay here, I hope to grow, but again, I don't want to leave any promises. But thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, give it a like, I guess. Share it with your friends, subscribe, and more importantly, give me some constructive criticism on how I can improve, because that's really what all of this is about. How can I improve? How can I become better as a person, as a conversationalist, and as a YouTuber? So, I guess that's it. Later.